Okay, this is going to be tying Steve's green drake, uh, the green drake for the Frying Pan River in Colorado. And this fly has a different style to it. It's a little faster tie than a winged fly, and I believe it's going to rest on the water better and float better. Basically, this is the fly, and as you can see, it sits down on the fly on the water. The wing case is tilted just like a real mayfly, and I just believe it's an easier tie and an easier fly to construct, and I think it's a more realistic silhouette of the mayfly. So this is how I tie it. Start with olive thread, and I tie in right about the thorax point and create a base back to the bend of the hook, stopping just above the barb. Now take black moose mane for the tail. Grab 5 or 6 fibers. I'm going to keep it pretty thin. Pull the guard hairs out. That's not enough. Put them in the stacker. I need to tap very much. Okay. And set the tail just about the length of the shank. See there, the head. So we're just perfect right there. So now we're just going to move that. And tie that down a little bit. Grab the excess, tie that off. Move the thread back. Come underneath a couple of times. So now that your tail will stand up. Now, I'm tying the rib. The rib can be a lot of different things, but basically what I've chosen is thread from tying fly rods, tying the furls on the fly rods. A very strong thread, good color, and you can really cinch it down for the ribbing. Works really good, but a lot of things would work for the rib. Choose whatever you like. Okay, now I use Spectrum Light Olive. It almost tends towards the yellow because the bodies are light. They're not real dark. Some drakes are dark. I have another pattern that I type that is a darker pattern. So I'm going to wrap this. Keep the body kind of thin till you get to the thorax area, and you want to build a very distinctive thorax. Just a tad more. Didn't like that thorax, so I'm gonna get it right more towards the front. Actually, I could use just a time he gets the thread, the hackle and the wing and everything, it becomes kind of bulky. Okay, now do my reverse rib. You can see how you got nice dark bands. You want to keep this fly pretty skinny. I'm going to move the thread back to the rear of the thorax. Now I'm going to prepare my brown hackle. And if the hackle's a little larger than it's up to 2 hook gaps wide, that's all right. It doesn't have to be a gap and a half because you're going to cut off the bottom half anyway. So the legs are going to stick out and support the fly, and that's the whole point. So I got my 2 hackles tied in. I move the thread to the forward of the thorax. Now I'm going to wrap. First wrap, palmer it forward. The second wrap, move it back to the back. Fourth wrap, fifth wrap through the center, sixth wrap, seventh wrap. 6 or 7 wraps is fine. Secure that. Now we're going to blend the yellow mix with the brown, and again, 1, move it forward, move it back, kind of figure eighting it. This causes the hackles to spread out like the legs. That's what you want. Some guys like to have the hackle straight up and down. I can tell you from fishing and observing the insects on the water for years and years that the legs spread out. It's a better hackling plan than the straight up and down hackles. Might be a minor point, I don't know if it makes that much difference to the fish, but it does to me, and that's the way I like to hackle them. Also, I'm in the same school of thought as A.K. Best. He has made the same observation in his book, Production Fly Time. Okay, now we have the basic body constructed, the hackle. Now I'm going to take and build the wing. I'm using a Dunn colored slate gray dyed deer hair, and I clip off a little bunch, kind of roll it a little bit in my thumb, pull out the guard hairs, and it's about the right amount. Some people like their wings heavy, some like them a little light. This can be that's about right there. Put that in the stacker. Looks good. Now we're going to set that right there so it goes to about halfway, not quite halfway back, but past the bend of the hook. And we set that right on that little hump there, a couple of loose wraps, and then move it forward and tighten it down. Clip off all the excess. Make sure you don't cut your thread. And wrap. Now you're going to build your head with the thread. That's why you want to use the olive thread to match the body. Nice little head. You can whip finish it with your fingers or use a whip finisher, but I like lacquer. Hold that in place. Now I like to take and squeeze that and hold it. Put another drop of lacquer right at the base where I flatten that wing out. Okay, now I take the fly out of the vise, turn it upside down. I'm going to cut the hackles off the bottom. And that's the finished fly. You notice you got distinct legs out to the side, very distinct thorax, great wing profile, and just a good looking fly. And it's a lot faster than tying a wolf wing or a split hair wing, or pieces of plastic or Z-wing or a lot of other stuff. This just is faster. I think it has a better profile, looks great. And that's my take on a green drake, my style. Thank you for watching. See you again sometime.